Alrighty, folks, you know I'm feeling great on a Monday morning because we're now hitting at 82% our last 11 daily best plays on my premium page. And the good news is I have another $1.99 daily best play going off here today for just $1.99. And if you sign up for that membership here today, you're going to get access to one premium selection of mine every single day for the next 30 days. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. I currently have over 720 members who are signed up and active on my premium page right now. And you may be wondering what the difference is between what I do here on YouTube and what I do on my premium site. Well, what I do here on YouTube is I'll handicap the entire slate of games in any given sport, side and total. What I do on my premium site is actually share with you which one of these free picks I like the best. And if you want to see who I'm taking in that Bills-Jets game here tonight on Monday Night Football, that game's being featured as my third and final NFL tier membership pick for Week 1. And the best way to access that is to join my NFL tier membership package. Now, guys, I'm once again 9-2 in my last 11 daily best plays, 10-4 in my last 14 extra daily picks. And finally, guys, I'm 4-1 in my last 5 board member tier package plays on my premium site. And the good news is I have plays going off in all of those packages here today. And once again, it's patreon.com/BrockPage. The link for that site is in the description section below. With that, folks, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off with the first of a doubleheader here today. It's going to be the Braves at the Phillies Game 1. That'll be a 1:05 Eastern first pitch. Atlanta's the $1.40 favorite on the road. Totals 9.5. Looks like Charlie Morton in the opener for Atlanta, Taijuan Walker for Philadelphia. And even though the Phils have performed very well when Walker makes the start, they've definitely had their hands full with the NL East this year. The Phils currently have a losing record in their divisional home games. And despite all the wins that Walker's recorded this season, he's definitely allowed his fair share of runs. He hasn't been unhittable. The righty's got an ERA of 4.15 along with a 1.32 whip. And he's definitely going to have to tighten things up here today because he's facing the most dangerous lineup in baseball. Matt Olson leads the majors in home runs and RBI. Ronald Acuna's got the 4th highest batting average and OPS average in the bigs. Acuna's also got a staggering 7.2 wins above replacement average. And if for some reason the Braves struggle with Walker at the dish, they have 14-win Charlie Morton on the bump themselves. Morton struck out 168 hitters, and he's got an ERA in the low 3s. Now, the Braves are currently 60% to the under in their divisional road games. Meanwhile, Philadelphia is 12-6 to the under against the NL East at the bank. Give me Atlanta minus 140, under 9.5 in Game 1. Next ball game, Cards, O's, 635 East. Baltimore's minus $1.65 at Camden Yards, totals 9 runs. Dean Kramer for Baltimore, Dakota Hudson for St. Louis. And even though Hudson's looked good in a handful of outings, he's definitely not unhittable. The righty's got an ERA of 4.43, along with a 1.36 whip. Now, as a team, these St. Louis pitchers, they really struggle away from home. The Redbirds allow more hits a game on the road than any other pitching staff besides one. And, of course, they're facing one of the better slugging lineups in the American League in Baltimore. The Orioles are currently a top 5 run-producing team in the American League. Very tough to get out when they're at the plate. And, of course, one of those guys, Adley Rutschman, he's currently leading the roster in hits. Anthony Santander, he's the Baltimore leader in runs batted in. And pitching-wise, the O's continue to win ball games with Dean Kramer on the hill. The righty's 12-5 with a 1.29 whip. Now, the O's have seen a bunch of overs over the past couple of weeks. They're currently 9-1 to the over in their last 10 ball games. Meanwhile, the Cardinals went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Give me Baltimore minus $1.65, over 9. Next matchup, Nationals Pirates, 635 East. Pittsburgh's minus $1.25, totals 8.5. Andre Jackson for the Buccos, Patrick Corbin for Washington. And even though Corbin's been getting shelled for the most part, you can't deny the fact that he's only 1 win shy of double digits for the season. So basically what I'm driving at is he's not completely helpless. I mean, occasionally he does give you a chance to win a ball game. And as a matter of fact, the Nats did get the W in 4 out of their last 7 Corbin starts. And they actually scored a whole bunch of runs in those victories. Lane Thomas leads the roster in hits. Joey Meneses, he is the most RBI. And speaking of at the plate, well, the Nats have been a pretty tough out this year. I know that's hard to believe, but they've been doing a great job making contact. They actually strike out fewer times per 9 than any other lineup in the league besides one. And they're going up against Andre Jackson here today, who's recorded just 1 win through 29 innings. Now, the righty Jackson has also given up a considerable amount of runs during that time frame. He actually comes into today's ball game with a 4.34 ERA. And even if he does throw well here today, probably not going to get the run support he needs. This terrible Buccos lineup is currently in the bottom 3 in hits per game in the box. Give me Washington plus 105, under 8.5. All right, next matchup I have for you, it is going to be Braves at the Phillies, Game 2. And that'll be a 6:40 Eastern first pitch. Now, Game 2 is currently off the board. Looks like Michael Lorenzen's possible for Philadelphia. Kyle Wright maybe for Atlanta. And if Wright does make the start here for the Braves, well, the Phils might get on him early. I know that we lean toward Atlanta in Game 1. But if we do see this matchup, I kind of like it for the Phils. The righty Kyle Wright, he's got an ERA close to 6 for the Braves, and that's in just 18-plus innings. And, of course, these Atlanta pitchers have also had considerable control issues on the road this year. They're actually walking over 3.4 batters a game away from Truist Park. And they're facing a Phils lineup who's got little issue getting on base, especially at the bank. The Phils are a top 5 hit-producing lineup at home. Kyle Schwarber's got the 3rd most home runs in the majors, top 10 in RBI. Meanwhile, Bryce Harper is just a handful of points shy of batting .300. Give me Philadelphia getting the job done for some moneyline cash in Game 2. All right, next matchup, Rangers, Blue Jays, 7:07 Eastern first pitch. Toronto's minus 145, totals 9 runs. Chris Bassett for Toronto, Dane Dunning for Texas. Now, the Rangers have really struggled in their recent Dane Dunning starts. They took the loss in their last 4 games where Dunning made the first pitch. When it comes to offensive production, they were actually held to under 2.6 runs a game during that particular time frame. Now, they're facing a Toronto team on the other side of things who's playing some really good baseball right now. The Jays are currently on a 3-game winning streak, and they also got the W in 8 out of their last 10. So playing some pretty good baseball right now. This is the time of the year where you want to start, hitting on all cylinders. Plus, they're in a tight race. AL East, it's a grind right now. And I'll tell you what, a lot of their recent success is thanks to some really good pitching. The Jays have actually been impossible to hit against in their own building this year. As a matter of fact, the Jays allow fewer runs per contest at home than any other pitching staff besides one. And starting pitcher Chris Bassett, he's been no exception to that. The Reddies recorded 14 wins on the year and 158 strikeouts. Now, Bassett currently has an ERA in the 3s along with a 1.18 whip. When it comes to the total in this one, the Jays saw their last 4 straight in Rogers Center stay under the number. Toronto's also 10-4 to the under in their last 14 Chris Bassett starts. Give me the Blue Jays minus 145, under 9. Next matchup, D-backs Mets, 7:10 p.m. East. Now the Mets are minus $1.40 in Flushing, Queens. Totals 9 runs. Jose Quintana for New York. Zach Davies for Arizona. And as bad as Davies has been this year, well, the D-backs did get the W in 3 out of his last 4 starts. Now, these Arizona bats averaged 9.8 runs a game in those outings I just mentioned. Christian Walker's hit 30 home runs and has 91 RBI. Corbin Carroll, he's got a wins above replacement average over 5.2. They're facing a Mets club who doesn't play well for starting pitcher Jose Quintana. Even though the lefty has good numbers, he's recorded only 2 wins through 54 innings. And as a matter of fact, out of 9 total Quintana starts this year, the Mets have actually been shut out 3 times during that stretch. They really struggle producing runs for this guy. And I'll tell you what, we could see some more of the same here today. The Mets really don't hit well in Flushing, Queens. The Mets are averaging just 7.4 hits a game at Citi Field. That's nearly a league worst. Francisco Alvarez, he's questionable for New York. Ketel Marte banged up for Arizona. Keep an eye on him. Now, the D-backs' last 4 straight on the road all fell under the posted number. Meanwhile, the Mets are 60% to the under in their last 10. Give me Arizona plus 1.5, under 9. Next contest, Yankees, Bo Sox, 7:10 Eastern start time. Boston's minus $1.30, totals 10 runs. Cutter Crawford for Boston, Clark Schmidt for New York. Now, Schmidt's got an ERA of 4.54 along with a 1.32 whip. And even if Schmidt has a good showing here today, the Yankees can't hit the baseball. They're averaging fewer hits a game than any other lineup in the majors besides Oakland. And in addition to that, they also have to go up against Cutter Crawford. And he's got 107 strikeouts and a solid 1.16 whip. Now, the Bo Sox as a team, they're also pounding the baseball at Fenway. These guys currently lead the majors in home hits per game. Justin Turner's got a team-best 94 runs batted in. He's also the club leader in hits. Meanwhile, Rafi Devers has 29 homers and also ranks in the top 10 in the American League in RBI himself. Now, the Bo Sox saw their last 4 straight at Fenway get over the total. They're also 9-1 at the over in their last 10 at any location. Now, the Yankees on the other side, they saw the over cash in 60% of their divisional contests. Give me the Red Sox minus $1.30, over 10. Next ball game, it is going to be Royals, White Sox, 7:40 Eastern first pitch. Chicago's the $1.20 favorite at home, totals 8.5. Dylan Cease for the White Sox, Brady Singer for Kansas City. And believe it or not, it's the Kansas City Royals who are officially the first team to hit the century mark with regard to losses. They are the first team to 100 losses this year. They currently have the worst record in the majors, and they do score the fewest amount of runs on the road. These guys average only 3.4 runs a game in their travels. Now, they're going up against a big strikeout guy in Dylan Cease. The righties fanned 183 batters in just 153 innings, averaging well over a strikeout an inning. And the White Sox have also hit the ball well for Cease recently. They actually scored 30 total runs in Dylan's last 4 starts, nearly 8 runs a game on average. Andrew Benintendi leads the club in hits per game. Luis Roberts got the 6th most home runs in the majors. 6 out of Chicago's last 10 ball games fell under the total. Kansas City saw their last 3 straight on the road stay under the line. Give me the White Sox minus $1.20, under 8.5. Next ball game, Marlins, Brewers, 7:40 p.m. East. Milwaukee's minus $1.55, total 7.5. Brandon Woodruff for Milwaukee, Jesus Luzardo for Miami. And even though Luzardo's been good, the Fish have taken the loss in 4 out of their last 6 Luzardo starts. They average only 3.3 runs a game during that span, and that's really not overly surprising. The Marlins are a bottom 5 run-producing team on the road. They actually have a losing record away from Miami. Now, they're going up against starting pitcher Brandon Woodruff here today. And I'll tell you what, Woodruff's been very difficult to hit against. The righties recorded only 1 loss through 47 innings. And, of course, Woodruff currently has an ERA in the low 2s, along with a stifling it's a .79 whip. Sorry, little brain fart there. Anyway, once again, Woodruff, ERA in the low 2s, .79 whip. And as a pitching staff, the Brewers allow fewer hits per game than any other team in the Bigs. They actually held Miami to just 3.4 runs a game in their last 10 head-to-head gatherings. Now, no real shock here. 6 out of those 10 gatherings I just mentioned stayed under the total. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Give me the Brewers minus $1.55, under 7.5. Next contest, Rays Twins, 7:40 p.m. East. Tampa Bay is minus $1.25, totals 8 runs. Tyler Glasnow for Tampa Bay, Sonny Gray for Minnesota. And as dominant as Gray's been, well, he's facing a real tough lineup in Tampa Bay. These guys are a top 3 run-producing team in the American League. And when these guys are on the road, well, the Rays are in the top 5 in hits per game away from home. Yandy Diaz has the 5th highest batting average in the bigs, OPS in the 900s. Meanwhile, Isaac Paredes has 29 home runs and 89 RBI. Both are a team best. And even if the bats struggle with Sonny Gray here today, Tampa's got a good one in Tyler Glasnow. The righty's got himself an ERA of 2.98 along with a 1.02 whip. And this Tampa Bay pitching staff as a whole, they're allowing fewer runs a game than any other team in baseball. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Minnesota's last 4 ball games on the other side at Target Field stayed under the total. Once again, 3-1 to the under in their last 4 at home. Give me Tampa Bay minus $1.25, under 8. Next matchup, A's Astros, 8:10 p.m. East. Houston's the $3 favorite, totals 8.5. Framber Valdez for Houston, Mason Miller for Oakland. And even though Miller looked great at the start of the season, the A's did take the loss in all 4 of his starts. He had 4 starts between April and May earlier in the season, and the A's scored just 7 total runs in those 4 ball games. Now, no real shock here. The A's average a league worst 7.3 hits a game. So even though the Royals were first to 100 losses, it's the A's who have the worst hitting lineup still. They're facing an 11-win Framber Valdez on the other side, who he's got 168 punch-outs for the Astros and a 1.11 whip. And when it comes to offensive production, these Astros hitters are really pounding the baseball. They're now a top 3 hit-producing lineup in the American League. Alex Bregman's now the club leader in hits. He also has the most runs scored. Meanwhile, Kyle Tucker's got the most RBI in the American League, top 10 in OPS. Now, as a team, the Astros scored 60 total runs in their last 6 ball games. They could potentially put this one over the total by themselves. They're currently 8-2 to the over in their last 10. Meanwhile, Oakland went 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. Give me Houston minus 1.5, over 8.5. Next ball game, Cubs Rockies, 8:40 p.m. East. Chicago's minus $1.75, totals 11.5. Jordan Wicks for Chicago, Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now, Freeland's recorded 14 losses on the year. He's got an ERA in the 5s. Now, these Colorado pitchers have also been awful at Coors Field. They're allowing 11 hits a game on their own diamond. They're also taking on a Chicago team who loves hitting the baseball. These guys are a top 5 run-producing lineup in the National League. Cody Bellinger is hitting .318 with an OPS in the 900s. He's actually in the top 10 in the big leagues in both of those categories. Meanwhile, Nico Horner's the team leader in hits. And out of 16-plus innings of work this year, the lefty Jordan Wicks, he's got an ERA of just 2.16. Now, total-wise, 3 out of Colorado's last 4 at Coors Field got over the total. They're also 7-3 to the over in their last 10 at any location. Give me the Cubs minus $1.75, over 11.5. Next ball game, Angels Mariners, 9:40 p.m. East. Seattle's minus 225, total 7.5. Logan Gilbert for Seattle, Reed Detmers for Los Angeles. The Detmers has double-digit losses on the year, along with an ERA close to 5. Meanwhile, as a team, the Angels took the loss in 7 out of their last 10. Their pitching staff has really struggled on the road. These guys allow over 5.1 runs a game in their travels. They're facing a Seattle lineup who's now in the top 10 in runs per game. Julio Rodriguez leads the roster in homers, RBI, and hits. He's currently 7th in the big leagues with 95 runs batted in. Meanwhile, J.P. Crawford's got the 2nd most runs scored on the roster. And even if the Mariners struggle in the box here today, They've got a 13-win Logan Gilbert on the mound. I'll tell you what, Gilbert's been really good. The righty's recorded 13 wins and has 171 strikeouts. And no real shock here, folks. Logie's got an ERA in the threes, along with a solid 1.07 whip. Now, Shohei Ohtani is questionable for the Angels on the other side. Keep an eye on him. 6 out of LA's last 10 ball games got over the posted total. Meanwhile, Seattle went 7-3 the over in their last 10. Give me the Mariners -1.5, over 7.5. Next contest, Guardians-Giants, 9:45 East. San Francisco's the $1.50 favorite at home, total 7.5. Alex Cobb for the Giants, Gavin Williams for Cleveland. And even though Williams' record stinks, he's certainly thrown well this year. He's got an ERA in the low threes, and he averages over a strikeout an inning. And believe it or not, the Guardians are starting to hit the baseball a little bit, at least on the road. These guys are a top 10 hit-producing lineup in their travels. Josh Naylor has the most RBI on the roster. Stephen Kwan leads the team in hits. They're facing Alex Cobb here today on the mound for San Francisco, and he's actually seen his whip creep up to a 1.32. Now, the Giants have also had all kinds of problems with the American League this year. They're just 18-25 in their interleague ball games. The big problem for San Francisco has been their plate appearances at home. These guys are averaging just 3.9 runs a game at Oracle Park. And I'll tell you what, they've seen plenty of unders in their interleague home games. They're actually 70% to the under against the American League in their own stadium. Meanwhile, the Guardians saw 3 out of their last 4 road games stay under the total themselves. Give me Cleveland +1.5. Under 7.5. And with that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. Going to be in the NL West. Pods, Dodgers, 10:10 p.m. East. The LA Dodgers are -$1.75. Totals 9.5. Gavin Stone for Los Angeles. Pedro Avila for San Diego. And as good as Avila's been in spots, he's got just 1 win on the year and a 1.35 whip. Meanwhile, at the plate, the Pods have consistently struggled for the most part of the season. They're a bottom 5 hit-producing lineup in the National League. They're taking on a Dodger team who can certainly score with the best of them. LA's averaging more runs a game than any other team besides Atlanta. Freddie Freeman's got the second highest batting average in the major leagues. OPS nearly in the thousands. Meanwhile, Mookie Betts, he's currently in the top 5 in home runs, RBI, and OPS. 8 out of the Dodgers' last 10 ball games did get over the posted total. Meanwhile, the Padres saw their last 3 straight road games get over the line. Give me the Dodgers -175, over 9.5. And with that, folks, now it is time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Braves -140, under 9.5 in Game 1. Orioles -165, over 9. Nationals +105, under 8.5. I'm hitting at 82%. My last 11 $1.99 daily best plays on my premium page. And the good news is I have another $1.99 daily best play going off here today. It costs just $1.99 for 30 days of service. The math works out to be just 6 cents a day. The link for that pick is in my bio. Give me the Phillies getting the job done for some moneyline cash in Game 2. Blue Jays -145, under 9. Diamondbacks +1.5, under 9. Red Sox -$1.30, over 10. White Sox -$1.20, under 8.5. Brewers -$1.55, under 7.5 runs. Tampa Bay Rays -$1.25, under 8. Astros -1.5, over 8.5 runs. Chicago Cubs -$1.75, over 11.5. Mariners -1.5, over 7.5 runs. Guardians +1.5, under 7.5. With my next and final free pick, give me the Dodgers -175, over 9.5. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my website. And just a friendly reminder, guys, if you do end up signing up for a package on patreon.com/BrockPage, You're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, guys, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships absolutely free. They're included with your purchase. That's why I always tell folks that Chairman Package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. It gives you access to every single personal play of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you also get access to my podcast every single day on that site, absolutely free. It's included with your purchase. But most importantly, guys, gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, folks, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.